Think you can go blade to blade with me? You'd be dead in 6 seconds. You've been talking to those companions? Too hot-headed, they cried. Weak, pathetic cowards, the lot of them. It wasn't my fault. I told them, over and over, that it was an accident. They wanted me to prove my worth. So they threw me up against a young whelp of a lad, hardly old enough to grow his first chin hairs. I guess they thought a woman wasn't strong enough to hurt him. I didn't mean for him to die. Why would I want that? I just lost control. Good. Chat time's over. A fight. Huh? No sign of him.
Yes, I haven't got all day.
I can take you.
that? No sign.
Bother and befuddle! Stuck here! Stuck! My poor mother. Unmoving. Helpless. But too still. Oh, poor Cicero is stuck. Can't you see? I was transporting my dear, sweet mother. Well, not her. Her corpse. She's quite dead. I'm taking Mother to a new home, a new crypt, but... Ah! Wagon wheel! Go to the... Ah! Convince lorries to fix my wheel! Do that, and poor Cicero will reward you with coin. Leave me shiny coin.
You need something?
Oh, for the
Talk
love
to my
of Mara,
husband.
what now?
Vantis Lorius. Or
That
just
Cicero
Lorius,
fella?
if it's all the same to
Tell me
you.
something I don't know. Crazy fool's already asked me about 5 times. Seems he's not satisfied with my answer. Why can't he just leave us alone? Pay me! Have you seen the man? And he's transporting... He could have anything in there. War contraband, weapons... What? And just who in Mara's name are you, anyway? Yes. Look, thanks. And I'm sorry for my unneighborly reaction. If you talk to Cicero, you be sure to tell him I'll be down to help soon.
You know, I was thinking of
survival mode.
And she basically and everything it stands for, stole our land, devil may not be in the lead, atrocity. So, my point is, they're all bad guys. Yeah, like he's trying to, like, to clarify, obviously, Racism is a very bad thing. But I believe that
I'm getting out of here. Someone do something.
Damn it! No more!
the general rule, it seems to be kind of like magically influences. Sometimes it's just variability. Like sometimes you find the high elf at 200 and they look like they're about 90 for June or something. You see another elf at 200 and they're like young. You know, they're like in their 20s. You know what I mean? It seems kind of variable. But I guess we can also sort of start talking about, like, obviously, we kind of get the gist of what a high elf is. We've talked about thalmor and stuff before, which is like a very radicalized version of their like core principles into a doctrine of elven superiority and descendants of God, yada yada. But Somerset Isles and Ultima have actually, you know, at times they've gone in plenty of exodus. So you've got the Aelins and so on, which sort of came from there as well. But the Ultimary language sort of ended up being one of the sort of defining, I guess, bases for the modern Tamrielic language as well. And I can't remember, I'll have to find out whether it was Riemann or not, but there was a point where all legal documents and stuff were done in the sort of Ultimary language, and then they were changed to Cyrillic by, I forget who it was, Empire or Riemann. But regardless, it's kind of like, you can kind of imagine it like the Latin of our real world, in a way that it was very important for all religious documents and legal documents for a long, long time because of the Roman Empire itself, which got in there.
Watch what you're doing. They say the college has been snooping around Sarkal. Thank you. Here, this is for you. You've done well. I understand.
Recorded by the Empire, and after this point, it's recorded in Cyrodiilic. It asks the question, like, how much of Somerset and high elf culture and society is this crazy?
Of course, it's all in this map.
And how much is potentially played up by the Empire wanting to kind of like distinguish themselves as the cosmopolitan one, as opposed to the, like, you know, there's the idea that they keep 1 out of 10 children if they're racially pure enough. And it's like, well, then other people argue that is absolutely not the case. But that, I think that's in one of the pocket times it says they do that. So it becomes a bit interesting, because I like the idea that Somerset is as alien as it's described, because it just makes it much more interesting. But you've got to wonder, like, a lot of the times it is from the perspective of culture, right, history, which from our perspective, like, any time you're playing games, it's very empire focused, and a lot of scholarly work comes from the imperial perspective.
Everything. Some may call this junk. Me, I call it treasure.
Like all throughout history, they've generally kept some of the Isles or high elves and by, you know, to themselves. And so you can imagine they're very much the same with their sort of knowledge of doctrines and so on, and not exactly flooding that out to the empire, so it's quite the dominant scholarly stuff that, you know, the books and stuff. I suppose it could be just a story about one group of high elves that applied to all of the pocket guys. It sounds like something the nobility would do, but like the lower class might not. Let's face it, stuff is sanitary, especially like the first pocket guy. They go in like they already really dislike the high elves before they even go and visit Alanor. And I think that's one area where the high elves are kind of teased out of some really, really interesting lore, is that when, you know, you see the Dungeon of Morrowind before Morrowind was shown in ESO. You know, in ESO it's an interesting place, but it's not, you know, it's not crazy, alien and interesting the way we actually see it. But that's because Morrowind had fully fledged games, fully fledged culture, and all of this stuff fleshed out. Whereas the high elves didn't get that before their portrayal in ESO. Much more, you know, elves can see in most fantasy worlds, as opposed to kind of, you know, we bring it up a lot because it's really interesting to imagine their, like, the city of Alanor made from glass and its their wings with, like, hypnotic swirling ramparts and impossibly tall towers and all that stuff. It's like, to imagine a game that actually explores that would make the high elves as interesting potentially as the
That's
Dungeon.
right. My finest
Yeah, I've never really
but I've got it.
it's something like memorize.
So,
Memorize
Mikhail,
every
what
detail
we
of
eat
the
tonight,
figure
huh?
at a high
Something
elevation
upbeat?
table and
A
shortly
breath on
behind
jig,
you
maybe?
ask
Well, I was thinking
If it's
music.
work you
However,
need,
the more you know, the better you'll
sure
be.
thing. It's
Judge
yours
that
for a day.
is what you have to do. So
I'll show you to your
refill
room,
the
right
glass
this way.
door of the diner to your left when it is low, and never refill your own glass. Never rest utensils at the edge of any vessel. Do not eat more than the most prestigious attendee at any function. Allow the head of your table to leave for the study. Never watch another while using the wrong utensil is considered barbaric. Do not know which computers. Watch out against. That's just that little bite-sized thing, just how like rigid, formal, like it seems very controlling on every single element of conduct throughout the day, whether you're just eating or whether you're probably even applies to other things, reading, trusting the road, stacked boxes, yeah. It sounds really sucky to be honest. Like there's not. It seems like freedom is not a thing that's highly prized there. They have a very it almost makes you think a little bit like sort of ancient India and stuff, in terms of like the higher, like the caste system in a way. But like you've got to your life is destined before you're sort of even born and so on. You know what I mean? Place in society. Yeah, because I guess if the vast majority of high elves are not part of extremely high caste, but like in the immediate gods,
Let me know if there's anything
imagine
else
a
you
lot
need.
of the, say the vast majority of high elves maybe wouldn't buy into this idea just like our ancestors.
You all right? You look like you might be
They
sick.
get the short end of the stick for not being considered as close to their ancestors. It can be arbitrary. Yeah, actually, kind of siding like each other. I guess it all kind of drives home the point of just how xenophobic and snobbish they can be to the other races in Tamriel. Because you can imagine just how snobbish they would be to their own kind based on the caste system. So if they think that, if the highest of the high elves think that some of the lower class are nothing of like, worthless to them, what are they going to think of an Argonian or a Khajiit when they travel to other provinces? There is no way that I could imagine being confident in forming a pact like the Ordinary Dominion with the High Elves, let alone the Thalmor, knowing that they look down on their own kind as well. It's interesting to actually know another thing about their spread is how you have the House of Durrani, or one of the Durrani elves basically, and they went to High Rock and they basically ended up enslaving the Bretons and forming sort of like they sort of created this caste system again. But it's interesting how, if you think about it, at its root, Bretons' caste culture and like stratified classes and all that is heavily influenced by the Durrani elves bringing that from Somerset Isles and that over as well. I also just wanted to clarify real quick. I mentioned before, like ultimately basis, it's kind of it is in part two, but also remember. The ultimate language, when it goes deep, becomes sort of transforms into Ayladun and Cyrodiil, and the Aylids were there because the Aylids played a big role in the ones that allied with Alesia. They sort of helped the men kind of create things until like like 100 or something years later, the elves started getting kicked out of power. So there's a lot of
If it's work you need, how about... I'm telling you, I heard it, howling. Those werewolf tales are true.
How high elven culture has really come back to bite in the dark, because they create this culture
Need
where
anything else?
they're at the
Just
very
let me
top of
know.
the chain, and the Bretons that they can use as concubines, and they're only allowed to marry the young, they're not allowed to marry the women, they're essentially property. And then when you're so selective about who you can breed with, and then you're an expanding culture at the same time, you just end up becoming completely outnumbered by everyone who's not this high race like you, to the point where you just dwindle away and you can't control your lands, and the race you essentially created of man will just end up naturally, not with conquest, but taking all your
I
lands,
need...
and you just
All
end
I
up
can
with
think
a
about is my son, my fall.
untouched
They
life.
say that he was killed, but I know better. I know my son is alive. Those bastard Jordan, they're in with the Imperials. They know it too, and yet they lie to my very face. I just know it. I can feel it in my heart. You have to believe me. Please visit me at my home. I can tell you the whole story.
I've been looking for you. That's something I'm supposed to deliver. A close cut of steak or a tender rack of ribs. I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands anyway. Let's see here. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Like above, yeah, version of it. Yeah, I kind of see that for them art and architecture are like really closely entwined. When we talk about the description of Alanor, it sounds like not everything about their architecture, at least as it's described, is entirely practical. It's almost like a display to the gods of how great they are and how, reaching towards the heavens, even though there's probably not much need to create everything from glass and things like that. It's like it's an artistic endeavor practical. It's interesting how you point out there too about that slave piece at the bottom. But often when people think slavery, they think of thalmor, but slavery really is an elven practice, like in a way that the Ultimate did it, and they did it with the goblins and so on, but then they go to Cyrodiil and then they enslave the humans there, then they go off to Resdane and then they enslave the Argonians down south. Like, even the dwarves enslaved the snow elves, kind of creating a thalmor. Yeah, exactly. Elves are, it's a common theme of them, sort of that we're superior and we can enslave these other people. Like, it's a very, it's an early elven ideal, I would say. Yeah, there's no doubt the old Mediterranean, on the surface level can seem like this diverse package of Volta and High Elves. But, you mentioned the goblins before. I imagine beneath the surface, especially in the Thalmor, they're looking at their Volta and Khajiit allies, and they're basically our goblins who are going to be working on the mainland for us. And that's why a lot of the times, where other alliances can be formed fairly naturally.
Suppose so. Got one all settled if you've got the coin. You've got the deal. It's the one with the saddle. Of course.
Yeah, I always got the file.
Of course.
There's two pieces of information when you hear about how the Cullens and stuff available, which is sort of audio stuff about the Thalmor Cullen land, distance and so on within available.
Of course.
And then also, remember when there's the Khajiit assassin gets sent after?
Right strong.
Like from Thalmor, but I can really imagine them just really treating them like tools. It's like, I'm going to, high elf sticks out of you can go like, Khajiit, sword line, whatever. They're actually, they do have spies and stuff, and then they don't, obviously warriors are very useful, but they don't really need a warrior-centric race because they have a lot of offensive capabilities in their own way with magic and other things. Obviously, nimble fighters are still effective fighters, in the case of the Lord and Khajiit.
We're on time. We know who you are.
Especially if they're armed it's like there is you could argue there's wasted potential there, but for the most part, they're pacifistic, but they can also be very violent, just how their culture is set up. So if you can indoctrinate some Volta and the same way as Khajiit, you can indoctrinate them into your way of thinking from a higher perspective. You've got, an untapped army of incredibly good warriors, like archers and assassins and all of that. So it benefits them massively to kind of become friends. Yeah. The other thing to consider as well is it kind of fills the gap that magic doesn't. So if you think about visual warrior or strength or kind of tank capabilities in a war or a battle, the Thalmor do have magic, and as much as they're not the biggest fans of necromancy and stuff, you can imagine we know about Lord Narrative and all that jazz, which not my most favorite thing was, I guess. But you could have mages somewhere. The interesting thing too, the other big benefit of has the Redwood and Millstone in general is actually like some of the sort of just territory control. And if you think about it, that the Ultima they have supposedly the strongest navy ever, really powerful navy. You know, in history, fighting CLs and Slowed and such, and also Legion's somewhat central. But in regards to the modern political landscape, you can see kind of why they might have wanted to go for Hammerfell, and especially get that sort of Hammerfell area as well. And you know, they've already got Baileywood, because that gives them a good control. But because you've got Anvil, which is a major port for the Empire and so on, and if you can kind of like Baileywood to Somerset here, and then there's like maybe Catastrophe and something, you kind of get a really good control of those things without doing trade. Because like, you think about the Imperials where they are, like can I trade from Lael and go the long ass way all the way to Black Marsh, Morrowind, up to Skyrim, Hyrule, or they could just want to port back here and that bay, which is a massive trade hub. Like, if you as the hospital really if you actually lock down Hammerfell and you have Baileywood that you cut off their trade, like just can't trade between, you know, overall the amount of across Skyrim or drag so there's probably more to Hammerfell. Even at first you go, why they would conquer it? Yeah, it's like there's more to it. Black Punch so it's not like they don't have a grip on the bottom right end of the continent. More like that doesn't really exist until the Archaeology problem. Morrowind, has a lot of chaos with the Red Mountains and whatnot, so they kind of have a lot of useful territory that if they can keep Hammerfell, tactically they have the ultimate advantage. It's like, to kind of compare it in a way to Britain and Germany in World War II. It's like Britain is really hard to penetrate because it's you have to cross the channel in order to attack it. And then not only that, but Germany, they have to operate land in order to launch and so on. So that, they have to conquer France in order to attack Britain pretty much. And you can imagine that if the Empire wants to Somerset, it's kind of hard to go to Anvil if you've got enemies in Baileywood. So it's like you can see why, short of having the hitting on the side, really, like that's the only way to force their hand to happen. Yeah, that's also why I think, like, obviously we've talked about this before, but Phil Swass sees the Hammerfell as pretty sort of reunited and found plus, like, I think you'll actually be able to experience some of the battlefields and see some of the damage that the Great War did, because Skyrim wasn't really the Great War at all. It was pretty much Cyrodiil and Hammerfell. So if you it'd be cool, do you know what I mean? And some of the wounds would be fresh. I mean, it's still 25 years, but you can do a lot of some destruction. But I guess it also depends on if you want to repair it as well. Like, it depends on the priorities too. Obviously, they have the capabilities to repair everything in like a couple of years if they want. But it's like, is it feasible? Is it worth doing now?
Need something?
Yeah.
Suppose so. You've got a deal. It's the one with the saddle.
Favorite races based on kind of this, lack of a better word, or how much we like their lore. And the old one ended up surprisingly on the lower end of my list, even though before I started I thought they would end up higher. Because it's funny, there's a massive distinction between races that I love the lore of and races that I love to play. Like, for example, Hyle is a race that I love to play, and I played as my second character in Skyrim. It was a Hyle who had, it sounds really funny, but I thought it was really cool at the time. It was like full muscle Hyle wearing like the topmost fur. So like, but then using lightning magic
Close enough.
Guide to the Empire 3rd edition, which is it's written.
You're looking a little rough around the edges. You feeling all right?
You have, it does say this, it's a insularity of the Somerset, decisive
Once
growth
was
of
a woman with
young, which among the high elves is a fairly
springtime in old Strauss-Macan.
hierarchy of society, and it's sort of while there had always been
Close enough.
cultural society, results like exile of the mountains.
Good to see you again, friend.
Close enough.
Advocating social change. This nascent revolution of the Somerset Isles most constructive surely is the acceptance of it goes on for a bit, but it's interesting. So this would have been at the time, like, end of third era, early fourth era, that there was kind of this more like, let's move away from sort of, I guess, superiority and rigid hierarchy and so on. But that gets completely flipped on its head with the Thalmor uprising and when the Thalmor take control. And I guess that also explains the Green Fires, where you had some early distance trying to escape to Hammerfell from this starting off with Somerset. Yeah. But it's just interesting, like, you've got to treat them as individuals, like, not even high elves. Not all high elves, most certainly, do not benefit from, the strict caste systems. You might find as well, and I mean, you see it, not every high elf in Skyrim, for example, is particularly strong. I mean, a lot of them are, but plenty of them aren't. You can imagine that it's kind of like the orcs, where you have the orcs in the stronghold, and then the ones that leave get called and then around, but they're not about that stronghold lifestyle, right? Whereas the high elves that leave as well, you can imagine, I just want to go be a merchant, high elf, that's it. Where they are, their job might not be respected, but you would find that a lot of the ones that stay are the ones that like it, and the ones that don't like it would leave. Because it's quite easy to leave, it seems. It's not like, especially as a high elf, like, there's plenty of places. And you have options. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, mages, especially in peak Empire times, with the mages guild and so on, like, there's, you know what I mean? Like, provided you're a mage. But even so, going to the Imperial City and just, like, I feel like it is a kind of a cool idea, Like, I would want to probably live in the Imperial City or some kind of cosmopolitan nation, because, inherently how, like, even the Imperial City, and this is how it tends to be in real life, that cities are more cosmopolitan and accepting in general versus, like, rural areas, or more like, you'd have a better chance in their, let's say, Bruma or Coral or something, like, it's sort of more
Kill
like
him to get some beer every now and then.
But what if we were going to be the key high class Somerset Isles? I think so. It sounds cool, but you can look at a lot of noble families, like, unless you say it's boring, you kind of want any freedom. Yeah, because it kind of sucks, because your life is so restricted to what you can say and do and who you have to marry and what you have to, it might be far more liberating to go to the Imperial City, marry someone you love, you know what I mean? Whatever you like. Well, yeah, because a lot of their lives are built around trying to reclaim something that they really can't do. Like this obsession with what they once were, and they're going to be constantly undermined and foiled by the reality that they're not like that anymore. And I think, like, building on what you said about how you thought they were going to be a more loved race, but then you kind of put them low down the list. Is that, well, one thing about the Ultima is that it's like you've got all of these really fascinating groups that diverge from them, who are really interesting because they kind of came from that, whereas the Ultima are just like the ones who stayed behind who refused to change at all, which is kind of what makes them, you could say, could potentially make them more boring to the other elves, but at the same time, what makes them the most fascinating is this idea that they just have no idea of their true origins, and like, we can't even find their old homeland. It's a bit tragic, really, as much as they paint themselves as the very best. And like we said many times, like, high elves, some of their descriptions in the books and so on, they have the potential to be far more alien, but as we've seen them in ESO and so on, they are pretty close to sort of your classic Lord of the Rings type elf. So they kind of by default, it's like, oh, been there, done that, we've seen it in D&D in every iteration of Fantasy. I felt like it was Shrek. It felt like something out of Shrek. Like, the city from the second hill. Something like that. Such an no, it is. This made me think of like the Orcs episode. You're like, they're practically Shrek. Seems like this. Shrek and love Shrek. Here's an extra. You know that thing where I showed you, where there was like those animated videos and it's got like Shrek as kind of like a Shrek girl. Oh yeah, that is so cool. Riding a hot dog. I just saw some meme and it was like, imagine what the internet will be in 30 years, and it's like Shrek riding a hot dog and like a barber and all this kind of stuff. It's so absurd. Yeah. I can imagine as well being an Ultima too, when we were talking about being like in the high class and being boring. In the Elder Scrolls universe, magic is real, and I just can't imagine the pull to politics and
Yeah.
I cannot rescue. I know it's all relative when you get things like magic, but I'd much rather be sleeping in some bunk bed in a major guild, eating basic food, putting over who I am, but I'm learning to, I don't know, summon literal, like, demons, but monsters, or like, cast spells, turn invisible. That sounds much more appealing. It's kind of like the notion of like getting superpowers would just make you not really care about some of the more mortal, boring trappings of life. Yeah, I think part of what makes the High Elves more fascinating for me is buying into these like massive conspiracy theories. It's like for example, I don't really play it, so the character I created, I created a High Elf, but I made his skin as tan as possible because the idea is basically, he's one of the aliens who escaped Alicia's rebellion. It said that a lot of them travelled towards Bailey Somerset to kind of mesh in with the Val, the early times of the Val Lord, and they're secretly just trying to get revenge against men. So, it's not just some expansion. It's like no, we want revenge for something that happened to Val. It's like, it's kind of like you almost have to really enjoy the High Elves. You kind of just give them credit for everything that came from them, which is like obviously so much, but the Durrani of the Bailey is fascinating example. Their expansion that didn't get too crazy following completely different cultures and gods. Makes me think too, actually, why some of the aliens, it's never mentioned really, but aliens, some people could have got a lot of the kind and so on and have converted to some of the lot to their ancestors as well. But, maybe some did, you never know. Yeah, well, in terms of Daedra worship, it's not going to be a big leap for them to follow the good Daedra. I guess those Daedra. I guess we don't have much information on the Aelids, but I still imagine that the Aelids, because it seemed a lot of the benefits of worshipping the Daedra wasn't, I love you so much, it's also all of the powers and stuff that they could achieve from them. So I would say that the Aelids are probably still quite Anuic in their beliefs in the way that Lorcan trapped them here kind of thing. So it would have been quite worldwide, even going to the Dunlords of Chimera at the time, their belief about Lorcan and the purpose of monks is very different. So they're fundamental. Yeah, it's like the Daedra was more like their hedonism and their fun, not their religion. If these Daedra princes are encouraging them to enslave and torture humans as well, it's like that can totally align with a high elven attitude, despite kind of being worse than a Daedra. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I think that's without mentioning every single little detail or little thing that they do, but we're gonna get demonetized now. Watch out. Yeah. But I think that's about it. You guys have anything else to mention on it? The Sigik are their own beast. Yeah, that's it. It's like So, since August 13th, I should look it up. Since August 13th, we have been playing story games. Let's play a game that doesn't really have much story. I can summarize the plot of this game in about 2 sentences. It's okay. That's okay. That's not... I have no idea how this game can review. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dragon's Dogma. Let's talk